So we are starting off from the GlueUp homepage that consists of a dashboard giving summary of different information or data from different modules on the platform, like contacts, campaigns, memberships, finance, and so on, depending on what you've taken up on GlueUp. Now, this dashboard can be modified to capture information relevant to you, and that also includes campaigns related information. So once you click on select, save, and that will populate your dashboard. So it's your own individual dashboard as a member of your team. The campaigns module itself also has a dashboard for everyone in your team that has access to the campaigns module, which can also be modified to capture campaigns related info. Now, before using the campaigns module, you ideally need to work on what we call the DNS and verified senders. So we're going to click on the gear icon, and this takes us to campaign settings. Now, why is this important? Failure to set this up may lead your campaigns to go out as no reply at glueup.com. So it can cause a bit of confusion with your recipients because they don't really know, where the email has come from. So we normally recommend for you to set up your DNS. During your kickoff calls, your customer success manager should ideally guide and provide support if needed when it comes to this setup. They will add your domain name on the platform. So let me use this as an example. Now, these 3 lines of code will be copied and entered into your domain host. Okay, so if you have any challenges doing this, always reach out to our support team or your customer success manager, and they can give proper guidance. So once you've added the code to your domain host, it takes a maximum of 48 hours for your domain to be authenticated or approved. And what happens is it will go from this to confirmed. So once it's confirmed, it means you're ready to add your sender emails. Now, the sender emails are going to come in handy when it comes to sending out your campaign on the platform, from the platform as well. Okay, so once you add your sender emails, so this is the button to push, enter the email address, the domain, and the sender name, and save. Okay, it can be events@glueup.com, finance@glueup.com, depending on how many you would want to add. So that is a major setting you need to work on before sending out campaigns. The 2 other settings are optional. If you would want to create a template that your colleagues can use every time they create certain types of campaigns, you can go in and create what we call a campaign template. Now, a campaign template consists of 2 main sections. So the first one being the settings and the layout. Okay. Now, the first step, you enter the template name. So for example, if you want to create a monthly newsletter template, you can enter the name, a brief description of what you want it to be used for. And when we scroll down, you can choose any layout you would want for that particular template. Once you're done, go to the next step and build out your template. Now, there's different elements you can utilize when building your template, like adding images, titles, a logo, and even adding custom HTML codes if you have someone conversant with that in your team. I'll go through these in detail when creating an actual campaign. So what happens is once you build your campaign, similar to what you see here, you can also work on the design, which is changing the background color, the text font, and any other items here, like changing the color of any links you may have, and then save. Once you save that, anytime you need to create a similar campaign, you just use any of the templates created. The most used one is the survey template. So this one is mostly commonly used. Now, for a survey template, it's only one step, and it involves building or filling in your survey questions. Let's say this is a customer satisfaction survey. You can add a title, a body of text, giving instruction on how you want the survey filled out. And the next section is adding the different questions for your survey. So you can utilize the rating fields, and we've made it possible for you to label the rating fields, and you can make each question mandatory. Aside from that, you can utilize any of the custom field. So for example, this is a comment box that allows people to give their responses. And in this case, one can go in and limit the number of characters to be used within that response. So this avoids, either feedback to be too short or too long, and you can even make it mandatory. Okay, so you can utilize any of the custom fields or any of the sample questions provided and save. So the next time you have a customer satisfaction survey, you only need to use the template you initially created. So it's very simple and straightforward. And we can jump over to the campaigns module itself, whereby you encounter three main columns. So, once you create any campaigns and don't send them out, they are automatically saved as a draft. So you can always find them here and perform any of the actions listed. You can delete, you can, duplicate it if you want to create something similar. So this is another way to save time when it comes to creating campaigns on the system. You can duplicate what you initially created or utilize any of the templates you have. You can preview or edit. So scheduled campaigns are those that have been created and will be sent out at a particular date and time. And finally, we have sent campaigns. Now, the beauty of sent campaigns is you can always access a campaign report. So let's open this one, for example, and click on Access Report. You'll get a summary of the number of people that received or, this campaign was sent to, and of the total number who managed to open the campaign and who didn't. So you can see from these 19 individuals, 7 successfully received it, 3 were bounced, and bounced emails are, this was the reason for that. They provided the wrong email address or an invalid email, and 9 were suppressed. So when we look at the suppression list, you're going to see the different reasons as to why an email can be suppressed. Okay, now aside from that, you can also view what we call link activity. So if you had any links within that campaign, you're able to see who or how many times this link was clicked on. So people are not only, opening your campaign, but they're reading it in detail. This information can always be downloaded from the platform for further analysis or sharing. Okay, so let's go over and create a campaign on the system. There are three major types of campaigns you're able to create on BlueUp. The first one being a regular campaign. Now, this can be used, to send out newsletters or any normal communications to your recipients. Creating a regular campaign is a 5-step process. The first one being selecting the recipients of your campaign. Now, these recipients are fetched from different parts of the platform. They are fetched from the contacts module, and you can select from any of the smart lists. So these are smart lists, from smart lists or contact lists that you created on the system. You can also send it out to members. Okay, so subscribers, and we're going to see that in detail, committees and members. For your members, they are segregated in different ways. You can choose to send it only to your active members. You can choose to send it by smart list. Remember, you're also able to create smart lists from within the memberships module. You can target the campaign to different membership types, and even members you have uploaded but not yet activated on the system. The same applies to organization team members. So one question that normally shows up at this point, comes up at this point is, are you able to send out a campaign to one person? Okay, so you're able to do that from the contacts module, and I'll show you how. So for now, let me select all contacts and go over to the next step. So on the settings section, the only thing you need to update is the subject line, and even add a preview text. Remember, these are the first things the recipients will see when the campaign reaches their inbox. We also have the sender emails. So this is where the sender emails come in. You can select from the list you have, and even add a reply to email if you want to give them room to respond to you. An additional item is a CC list. Aside from the recipients selected, you can add an additional 5 people here that will also receive this campaign. Okay, so we can move over to templates. Now, remember, like I mentioned, templates are simply campaigns created in advance for use over and over again. So you can select from any of the templates available, or even import HTML codes if that's what you used to create your campaign. So I will skip this step because I want to build my campaign from scratch. So we can go over to the content section, whereby I can start off by adding my organization's logo and selecting the size. I've added some text, and there's different ways to address your recipient. So these merge tags are the different ways you can address your recipient. You can address them by their full name or their first name, like what I've selected. And that is how you can address them. You can use the article function to build a newsletter on the platform. So you can use this, or you can import a newsletter that you initially created from a different platform. You can see how simple it is. So if you designed your newsletter on Canva or something like Microsoft Publisher, you can design it separately and import it on GlueUp, or you can use the article function to build your newsletter. Okay, so there's two ways of going about that. If you would want to make it possible for your recipients to be able to share this campaign on their social media platforms, you can add or use the social share button and add it down here. So there's so many things you can do. Let us use the button function. The button function can be used to add a hyperlink to a web address. If let's say you want them to watch a YouTube video or something along those lines, or to visit a different site. It can also be used to upload a file. Okay, so if you upload a document and they click on this link, they'll be able to download the document and access it on their end. So I will go ahead and save. And when it comes to design, like I mentioned, the hex codes help you to put in, colors in line with your branding, if that's what you want to do. So we have not restricted you to only choose from, the color, scheme, as you can see here. You can simply input the hex code of your branding colors and put in what you want. Same for text alignment. And even switching up the color of any links you have or any buttons you have on the platform. Now, the beauty of the preview section is it allows you to see what the campaign looks like for an end user. I know it's not very cute, but that is what it's going to look like. And an end user is able to share, as you can see. So when I click on LinkedIn, you can see it opens up my LinkedIn page. So this is my LinkedIn page, and I'm able to share this campaign as a post or as a private message to any of my LinkedIn followers. Aside from that, I can always manage my subscriptions. So if I do not want to receive any of these campaigns from you, I can simply go in and unsubscribe or manage my subscriptions, meaning I can add or remove some of the subscriptions I have. So these are some of the things your end users can do on the platform. Okay, aside from preview in browser, you can send it to your email. So this allows you to check on deliverability, how it looks like from an email point of view, and so on. You can send this to yourself or to a fellow team member. Okay, the last step involves sending out your campaign. And after, going through and making sure that all the necessary information is present, I can send out the campaign immediately or schedule for the campaign to go out at a particular date and time. Now, if you're sending out a campaign to members of your organization that have the MyGlue app, they will get it as a push notification. So this gives it better visibility, especially to people who don't frequent their emails. So I always advise you to use this. Okay, so that's the main step. Those are the main steps followed when creating a regular campaign, and similar steps exist when creating event notices or event invites on the platform. Okay, so when it comes to event invites, the system prompts you to select any event you have published on GlueUp. Okay, so we're going to choose this and proceed to the next step. Event invitation is a 4-step process. So you don't use templates when it comes to event invitations, and you're going to see why. So we have the same recipient page. The only difference is when it comes to an event, we have allowed you to import an invitation list. An invitation list may consist of people you do not have as contacts or members on GlueUp. So you're free to import that list of individuals from here. Once you import them, go over to campaigns. Okay, so you can open up this campaign. Once you import those individuals, you can see there is an extra category here that allows you to select them as recipients of this campaign. But in my case, let me choose contacts. Now, if you have a contact falling on different contact lists, the campaigns module will suppress it in such a way that they will not receive, too many campaigns on their end. Okay. You can go over to the settings section, whereby we select our sender email and add any of the important information. Under content and design, the beauty of event invitations is there's not much you will need to do because it's already created for you. Your organization's logo will be captured. The event header will be captured from your event settings. So the title of your event, the date of your event. If it has a physical venue with a pin, that information will also be captured here. Additional info may include an event summary, so what the event is for or about. We have speakers, organizers and sponsors, and so on. You are free to utilize any of the additional elements provided. So when it comes to an event invite, we have additional elements here that you're able to use. Okay, so once you're done, save, work on the design, and preview. So I want to show you what happens when the recipient gets this invite. So we can say, dear Valerie, we invite you to this event. So once I view this, I'm able to say, yes, I will attend, or decline your invitation. Now, as people accept or decline, you will end up with a summary of the number of people that said no or yes to your invite. So when I say I will attend, it kickstarts the event registration process for me. So I can select any of the ticket options available. I can add my details, proceed to the payment section, and my registration is complete. So it makes it easy for anyone to register and get a ticket for your event. So once you're done and have made sure the process is making sense, you can send over the invitation or schedule the invitations. Okay, the only difference between an event invite and an event notice, so let's see what an event notice looks like, is the event notice doesn't have the RSVP section. Okay, so everything else is the same. We have the recipients, the settings, but when you come here, there is no option for the recipient to either accept or decline your invite. You have only provided a link for them to register. So if someone feels like registering for the event, they can do so, or or they can leave it like that. Okay, so that's what happens. So those are the three types of campaigns you're able to send out from GlueUp. So we have regular campaigns, event notices, and event invitations. Now, when it comes to surveys, the first thing you're going to see on the survey page are a list of either expired, drafts, or ongoing surveys you have on the platform. So let me show you an example of an expired survey. So let's look at this one. We can go in and check on the survey results. The platform will give you a summary of the number of people that answered each question of your survey, and you're able to download this information. So of all the 4 questions, each one only got 1 response. Okay. We can get into more detail on the people that received this survey. And the reason why you're able to see it is because the survey submission was not anonymous. Okay, it was not anonymous. So you can see the list of people who received the survey and who managed to click on it. So only 1 person. The responses section goes into more detail on who answered the questions on the survey. So we can see this individual answered 4 out of 4 questions, and they spent a total of 8 seconds on the survey. We can view more details on each of the responses they gave, as you're able to see here. And all of this info can always be downloaded. If the responses were anonymous, you would not get this level of detail that shows you, what each person said. You would only get a summary of the responses. So let's go in and create a survey on the system. So it's pretty straightforward. Let's do a customer satisfaction survey. A brief description of that. Select the survey category. So in this case, this is what we choose. If the category is not there, you can click on other and then proceed to the next step. Now, it's also a 5-step process. The first one, allowing you to select from any templates you initially created. So I have a template for that, which I will choose. And it leads me to the second step, whereby I'm able to edit my questions or even rearrange my questions. I can move them around. I can go in, make each of the questions mandatory, delete, and even limit the number of characters for each response, like we said earlier. Now you can save, preview in browser, and the next step is adding your survey recipients. Similar to the campaigns module, there's different sections of the platform where you can fetch your recipients from. So in my case, I will choose all contacts. The distribution settings are very important because this is where you enter your subject line. And we also have a reminder subject line. Remember, for surveys, people don't normally fill them out on the spot. They can take some time before they fill it out. So it's always good to send out a reminder. You can optionally add a preview text or a reply to email, though for surveys, they're not really necessary. So you can send out reminders 7 days or 15 days after the initial survey was sent out. You can have a deadline for your survey, and submission settings allow you to choose if you want the responses anonymous or not. And if you only want it filled up by people with a GlueUp login. Now, people with a GlueUp login can oftentimes be, members of your organization. So you can put in those restrictions as well. Finally, we can go in, either send it out immediately or schedule. So you can see the steps are very similar to what you would do when creating a campaign on the platform. So we can jump over to subscription lists. Now, what are subscription lists? These are communications that you regularly send out to particular groups of people that have either, voluntarily subscribed to those items, or you have individually added them. So a fine example is this one here. So this is Valerie's monthly newsletter. Okay, you can see that it has 15 subscribers, and creating a subscription mostly involves entering the subscription names, a short description of what this newsletter will communicate. You can make this list private, meaning people will not subscribe on their own. You can restrict it to active members only. So if someone's membership expires, they are automatically removed from this subscription. There are two ways you can automatically subscribe people to a particular item. So if you tick on any of these boxes, it means every time you have people registered to your event, they will automatically be subscribed to this newsletter. Every time a new member joins your organization, they are automatically subscribed. But the good thing is, if they are not interested, they can unsubscribe on their own, on the end user side of GlueUp. Finally, if you would want people to agree to your organization's terms and conditions, you can click on this item, and that is what happens each time they subscribe, and then save. Now, one question comes in. So how can you manually add, as an admin, manually add people to a particular subscription? Okay, so you click on the action buttons, which is what I'm doing, and then view subscribers. This takes you to the contacts module where all your subscribers' details are found. So here is my list of 15 subscribers, and I can go ahead and add one person or import a list of people that I would want subscribed to these particular items. So where do these names show up, or why is this list important? When sending out a campaign, as you're going to see, we have a subscribers section. Okay, so when you go to subscribers, every subscription list you have is found here. So when I click on Valerie's newsletter, it means that these 15 people, you can see these 15 people are going to be the main recipients of this particular newsletter. So you can see, why it's important. Aside from subscription lists, we also have committee lists, and I'm going to show you, where these items show up on the end user side of GlueUp. Now, committee lists can be used to, effectively communicate to a specific, subset of the audience, as you're able to see here. Most organizations have their board members here. Okay, so you can create a committee list, add your board members, and make it private, meaning people cannot, subscribe to these items on their own. Adding a committee involves entering the name, a brief description of what it's for or who it's for. You can make it private. I see most of them as private. You can limit it to only members and activate opt-in consent. You are also free to manually add people to a particular committee, aside from them being able to subscribe on their own. So we can go over to the end user side of the system, and you will see that this is where your members will be found. They also have their own menu here, and part of that is the ability to access different subscriptions you have. Now, some of these subscriptions can be labeled as member only, and one is free to subscribe or unsubscribe to anything they have an interest in. Your members can also choose to unsubscribe from all your mailing lists, and they can provide a reason for doing so. Now, unsubscribing does not mean that they have been deleted from GlueUp. Okay, they just don't want communications from you. So far, so good. Our final section is what we call the suppression list. So why is this section important? The suppression lists help you to see the list of people that did not successfully receive your email campaigns and some of the reasons why. Now, for these three individuals, these are fake email addresses, and these people are not real. So when attempting to send out a campaign, they fell here because these emails do not exist. So I ideally need to enter the correct email. So that's one reason. Other reasons can be found here, and some of them can be user related. So spam means that your campaigns are ending up on their spam folder, and it's up to them to make sure that they allow or remove your emails from spam. Also content related. If your content may be inappropriate or something along those lines, it can be suppressed on the end user side. Things you can fix on your own can include a bad connection, a bad domain. So if your domain details are not properly set up, you ideally need to fix that in order for your campaigns to go out successfully. So what happens is if people fall on this list, you will have to work on those issues and then click on remove all. Once you click on remove all, you can go ahead and send out the email campaign again, and they can either be successful or not. So if they come back again, it means the issue is yet to be resolved. If it's persistent that you're having too many people on your bounce list, you can always reach out to our support team, and they can check on the back end if your platform is having deliverability issues. So this section right here is your best friend. Lastly, we have the unsubscribed list. Now, there's not much you can do with this group of people because they willingly unsubscribed from your emails. So the thing for you to watch out for is why they unsubscribed. If majority of them feel your emails are inappropriate, then you might want to sit down and check on how to improve on that. Okay, you can download this list of individuals and re-upload them on the contacts module, labeling them as unsubscribed, so that you're able to just keep stock of that information. Okay, yeah, so that's all when it comes to campaigns.